Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to another Terran vs Protoss build order. Today I want to go over a build that most people should be able to execute after just a couple of attempts, and a build that is great, especially if you're still ranking up on the ladder. Now this is not a build that you will really see at any of the professional tournaments, but it is going to be able to teach you how to play, and I've been playing this build exclusively while playing Terran myself in the last week or two. I'm currently around rank 5-ish Diamond League after playing Terran for a couple of weeks like I said, and you know, this build is great. This build will teach you the very basics as well as how to execute a timing attack as well as focus on the macro aspect of the game. Now the very first building we are gonna make is going to be a depot at 10 supply right here. Now the goal for this build that we are going for is a Stimpack timing push off of 2 bases with 3 barracks. So what we're gonna focus on is making mainly, you know, Marauders and Marines, going for the Stimpack upgrade, going for the Combat Shield upgrade, and then push out when we have a whole lot of army right away. And this actually hits right before the Protoss player can really start getting the counter to the builds that we are doing right here. Second building we're gonna make is going to be a depot, or not a depot rather, a barracks at 12 supply, and we're gonna follow this up not with another SCV, we wanna wait a little bit, but we're gonna go ahead and actually make a 12 refinery here as well, and then afterwards we can go ahead and make another SCV. Now this is the super standard one, standard Reaper expansion timing that most Terran build orders will, you know, exist of. Now one thing to keep in mind is that since we are going for a timing attack, it is going to be crucial that you actually deal damage with this. If you don't manage to kill your opponent with this, or at least deal significant amounts of damage, you're gonna have to, you know, realize that that is going to be a loss and that you are likely gonna have to restart and try again. Now at 15 supply, your factory or your barracks rather should be finishing up very soon, and we're gonna follow this up with an Orbital Command as soon as we can. The Orbital Command is gonna give us the economy we need, and you know, we can also start our Reaper right now. So right when you hit 50 gas, you wanna start the Reaper, and at that point you also wanna start removing 2 of the SCVs out of the gas guys. You don't wanna do that too quickly either, because you do need that little bit of extra gas right there to make the reactor next on the actual barracks. Next up, once this actual Orbital Command finishes, you want to throw down a mule, make another SCV, and start up a command center as soon as you can. Now in this game, I'm not going to make it on the low ground because I feel like it's a little bit too risky, so I'm going to actually make it inside of my main base right there. Now it looks like I'm going to need a little bit more gas right there. I do need 50 gas right now on this barracks right here, so there we go. Gonna make that, and I'm gonna start making more SCVs again. At 18 supply, I also want to start my second depot. So far it's been barracks, gas, command center, depot. Very straightforward right there. At 19 supply, right around right now, I want to be starting up my second barracks. The second barracks is going to be very important to basically keep on producing more units. And obviously, we also want to be starting the third barracks because that's what we're going to need to actually make more stuff. So there we go, second depot is finishing up. At this point, what I'm going to focus on, it's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to try and make as many Marines as possible. And normally in a real game, obviously, you would be looking around with this Reaper as well. But I'm going to try and make as many units as possible out of the barracks that I have. And that is going to be my main goal. And on top of that, I'm also going to try and make non-stop SCVs as well as make non-stop depots to make sure that I do not get supply blocked. Supply blocks are honestly probably the worst thing that could happen right now. I want to put the SCVs back into the gas geyser right now, and I also want to be starting my second gas geyser up. At this point, you also can start up the second Orbital Command on the new command center that you finished up. At this point, still making more and more units, gonna start up my first tech lab. Now, both of these second barracks that you create, you want to start tech labs on. So pretty straightforward, once again, just gonna keep producing more things, make sure that I have all the economy that I need, and I'm gonna use that second refinery that finishes up to be able to afford the double Marauder production as well as the double upgrades. First upgrade that we start is Stimpack. That Stimpack upgrade is going to allow us to make more units, and at that point we can also, well, very soon at the very least, we can also go ahead and get some extra units out. So I will start some extra Marines for the time being, but obviously, you know, this will maybe time out a little bit differently depending on how exactly you macro it. But the idea is that you start the Combat Shield next. Now, notice please, right here, that I am not playing this perfect whatsoever. And I want to do that deliberately to make sure that you can also execute this. Like, you don't need to play absolutely professionally and absolutely perfect in order to execute this timing. Just try and make sure you do not get supply blocked, like I'm about to do right here. We don't want that. Gonna make 2 depots right here. But just try and produce non-stop out of all the buildings that you got. So the, you know, the barracks as well as the upgrades, as well as the other things. And just try and make sure that you are producing non-stop and that you can actually afford making all of these units. Now just throw down a muse wherever you can, whenever you have the energy for it, and just keep producing more and more things. Now when you do hit about you know, around the 8-ish minute mark, you want to start moving out. The 8-ish minute mark is simply for the reason that you want to hit them in the face right when both of these upgrades finish up. So as you can see, it is still a little bit left on this, but I do want to hit them as rapidly as I can right when the upgrades finish. So right now I'm already going to start moving towards his side of the map. Now notice as well that I am leaving the units inside of the main base for the time being, simply for the fact of oracles. You do need to try and kill those to the best of your abilities as well. Next upgrade you want to go for, whenever you can, is going to be Concussive Shell. Just keep producing more things, and just try and produce to the best of your abilities. Make sure you set your rally point across the map as well, and keep producing more and more stuff. Oh, a little bit of a supply block right there by me. Doesn't really matter, because more often than not, at least in my experiences, with this timing right now, you should be able to kill your opponent. Now wait, obviously, you don't want to push in until you actually have your, what's it called? The Stimpack finish right there, because that's going to be the main upgrade. But here you go. If you stim in right now, at least in my experience, once again, you should be able to kill the Protoss Nexus without any issues, or at least overrun them. Now, let's say you aren't actually able to kill him. Let's say you aren't actually able to finish off the Protoss at this point. That is no problem. You can go ahead and actually start a factory. You can start a 3rd command center. You can start more barracks if you really need to. And you can also start double upgrading and all these kind of things. Now, this is a very basic opener that you should be able to execute without just a couple of attempts. Now, how should you go about practicing this? What I would highly recommend if you are completely new to this is that you open up a custom game with nobody in it like I am doing right here. Just simply jump into a game, practice this build order maybe 10 times, maybe 20 times until you can get it down a little bit better than I can right here. I am not executing this properly because, well, you know, I'm talking and playing at the same time, but I'm also trying to showcase you that you can actually do this without being absolutely perfect. And I know that at some points, StarCraft 2 can be very, very overwhelming. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. If you did and you want to see more, hit that like button as well as that subscribe button. And other than that, I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next one.